Hello, hello. How is everyone doing out there? Let's go ahead and get started here. I got my most won't I will. I know we're Accelerators organization now, but I had to wear my most won't I will hat my live session here. For some of you guys that are new and that do not know me, my name is Paul David. I started a company called Identified Talent Solutions probably about 9 years ago now. We are in the staffing and recruiting space. We do everything from, we started off as a technology recruiting company, and then as we expanded, we started to branch off in different arenas. I've been doing this, again, about 8 years now. We grew to a staff of about 75, and now we're kind of scaling down a little bit. But we are 4-time fastest growing companies. What else we do? 2 times best company to work for. We're an Inc. 500 company. So that's a little bit about me. I know a lot of questions. I mean, you can kind of ask me any question that you want. And there's a lot of different variations of questions that are being asked. But my expertise is basically human resources, recruiting, team building, obviously entrepreneur mindset. So any of those kinds of questions that you want to ask me, go ahead and throw them at me. But specifically, I have 5 questions here that I have to answer, and I want to go ahead and get that started for you guys. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's see. All right, so the first question here is from it's Marvelous Brown. He says, hello, tribe and mentors. My question is about my business credit. How can I establish this without using my own credit? Every time I apply for something, they attach my personal credit, which is a work in progress since I had to stress my credit cards to get going. I'm currently paying down those balances. Thanks. Well, let me see if this is the lighting's getting kind of funny here. So I don't know from the other mentors, but I can tell you my experience. I had to put my personal credit on every single thing until on every single item that I took out a loan for, or that I required credit, or anything like that. I mean, even from our company cell phones, I had to put my company credit. But I also attached I had to put my personal credit along, as well as our corporate credit, until our corporate credit was established. And it was about 5 years ago, after making sure those payments are on time, making sure I pay down those, making sure I didn't carry too much debt on our credit, making sure that our credit rating was good, that eventually the corporation and our EIN number, which is basically what we're using, was able to establish our own credit. And then now, if you guys know that you can go to Dun & Bradstreet, and basically just like your FICO score, they'll rate your company credit history, and basically lenders will start pulling that DMB report or that DMB analysis and seeing if they can lend you credit. But I don't really know. I mean, when I was first doing this, I tried to do this with our corporation and not my personal credit, but I had to be the guarantor on everything until it was established, until I was credit worthy. So at least until my business was credit worthy. So I don't know if if the other mentors have a different way, but I know I had to put up my personal credit along with my to back and to guarantee the corporate credit until it was established. So that's the only way I know how to do it, and from my colleagues, that's how we all did it to begin with. So, I don't have any other suggestions but that. So, next question is Ed. I have a competitor in the same lines of e-commerce business as me, and I can tell they very much copied my business model in many aspects. They set up earlier this year. My business has been established about 3 years. So Ed's business has been established for the last 3 years. He has a competitor coming in that established a year ago, and that competitor is basically copying the whole entire business model that Ed has set up in the last 3 years, and it's an e-commerce business. I find this both a curse and a compliment. Fair enough. Anyway, the main beef I have with them is they purchased the same domain as I have, okay, and I bet a slightly different suffix. so basically their domain, so his competitor's domain has co.nz, which I think is a New Zealand website, and it redirects to their site. So he's asking, firstly, I'm kicking myself that I didn't buy both domains, okay, when I had the chance. Secondly, should I pursue acquisition of the other domain or just let it go? If I were try to acquire the domain, what's the best approach to take? So I think you already mentioned that forgive me if I'm wrong here, but I think you already mentioned that your competitor is already using that domain that you want to acquire. Am I correct? If that's the case, I don't know exactly how that's going to work and how, I mean, if they're already doing business and they're generating business and you want to acquire their domain, I'm not sure how that's going to work if you approach them. You know, obviously, if you do want to, and again, I don't think that's the best route, but if you do want to, you got to go to the person that owns that domain and see if you can purchase it from them, right? In this situation, I need to know a little bit more about your business. Are you creating your own products? Or are you reselling on an e-commerce website, right? Because there's difference. If you have a product that you have, or if you have a service that you have that's unique to what you're distributing, you know, and there's other competitors, I would try to, you know, this is just basically capitalism at its finest, right? And anytime you have a great product, they're always going to try to copy it, right? That's just how it works. I mean, you can kind of see that on Tesla, right? You know, like when Tesla came out, everyone made fun of their electric cars. Now they have traction and they have this predominant space in the market. Now all the big players are getting in, right? So it happens. And the only way that you can stay in front of that is innovation. So if you have your own product and you have your own service, you need to innovate in a way that your offering is different than everybody else's, right? Because your copycats are never going to be able to innovate as fast as you can, right? Because you are the originator of whatever you started here. Now, if there is not a unique product or service that you offer, and it's an e-commerce business that you're reselling, what I would do is I would take a lot, I probably wouldn't go after that domain. What I would do is I would just put a lot more money into the advertising and into your funnels to try to get more traffic and more eyes onto your website versus that other website, right? You know, that's what I would do. I would spend more time on marketing and advertising, making yourself different from that particular space, making sure that you got more eyeballs that are coming to your website, making sure that every time they search whatever it is that you're doing, your name is on the top of that Google search. So that's how I would spend my money rather than kind of going after the domain, right? So you have two different angles here. If you have a unique product or service that's kind of your own, then what I would do is I would try to innovate and make sure that your product or service is much different than your competitors. That way, you're constantly staying ahead of whatever that competitor is doing. Or if you're reselling something and it's an e-commerce business, then I would spend more money on advertising and marketing. Okay. Hey, Ari. All right. Let's go to this third question. It's from. It says, Alicia, my company is doing 7 figures already, 3rd year in a row. Congratulations, that's phenomenal. All generated revenue is a result of brand value, attending conferences, organic, passive sales, word of mouth. We're already scaled to 8 figures, and I understand that it's time to create an active sales operation. That's amazing, by the way. Just let me compliment you on that. If you don't have like an active direct sales team and you're already at 7 figures and it's being generated by, you know, like conferences and word of mouth, that's pretty amazing. You know, that's really awesome. So kudos to you on doing that. I have no experience in sales campaigns, sales personnel, sales management. Would love to know how to get started, workflows, or any other info that you might think that can be useful. All right, so first of all, hey guys, when we're asking these questions, tell us a little bit, or tell at least me, you know, I think for all of the mentors, it's gonna help us understand what is your business. So describe your business so we know exactly how to answer the question a little bit better. You know, because there's differences between, like, if you're selling your product to if it's a business to business transaction or if it's a business to consumer transaction, and what kind of what kind of arenas or what kind of areas that you're using for to sell, right? So let me speak from my personal experience. We have a recruiting and staffing company, so we don't generally do it this way, but we're very good at from our sales perspective and our direct sales perspective, right? So I think the first thing that you do, and again, let me just kind of make a general statement without really knowing or understanding what your business is that what I would do is, one, create a marketing plan, right? Create a either you're going to, it depends on what your industry is, but have a social media plan, have an SEO search plan. So you want to use the internet, and you want to use an advertising and a marketing plan, because what you're basically doing is you want to create sales funnels. So you're getting a lot of leads that are coming into your direct sales force. Now you have two different kinds of direct sales force. You either have an inside sales force that takes inbound calls, or that does outbound calls, or you have an outside sales force that actually goes and knocks on businesses, right? So generally, if you're doing a business-to-business transaction, you're going to have a predominantly bigger outside sales force, because what they're doing is they're going from business to business to business, and they're entertaining clients. So that's a different kind of sales than what an inside salesperson does. And an inside salesperson, there's two different categories there, right? So inside sales, there's inbound calls. So if your product is a consumer product, if you're, let's say you're selling, you said conferences, I don't know, maybe you're selling like, I don't know, like educational training or what have you. What you want to do is make sure that you have an advertising and a marketing campaign that can bring leads into your inbound sales team. So what happens is you have an inbound sales teams that are converting those sales leads that are coming in, right? And then it takes a little bit of process, because what you want to do is make sure that you ensure that you give them the right script and the right information to make sure that they can take it from a lead to a close. And then also you have your outbound sales teams that are following up on leads that are constantly calling out. So it really depends, on what your product and what your business is. But generally, let me just kind of break it down again for you. If you're predominantly a business-to-business sales, right? Like what my company does is we have an outside sales team. So we're not doing a lot of online marketing or anything like that. We're actually going out to businesses and visiting businesses and trying to build relationships. What from that outside perspective? One second, let me just. What we do from that outbound sales perspective is we go to a lot of conferences, a lot of industry conferences, a lot of HR conferences, a lot of technology conferences. We have booths out there. We try to get as many contacts and decision makers from different businesses as possible, and then we kind of follow up with them when we visit them, and we take them out to lunch, and we try. That's basically what we do from a business to business perspective. When it's a business to consumer perspective, I think it's going to be a little bit different, right? That's when you're going to use a lot of online marketing to try to get those leads, to try to get those leads coming to you, and to have those leads come into your inside sales team so they can convert, right? So that's I think like an overarching generalized I guess answer for you here. Unless I really understand what your business is and how you're targeting it and what the sales is, then I can give you a better description on how you should do this. So feel free to, after you watch this, feel free to just say something or write an additional comment on this mentor board here, and then I'll answer that question for you. So I just get a little bit more detail on what you're doing. All right. Next question is by Jonathan. Jonathan asks, I'm having a hard time keeping consistent with my workout schedule over the past months. Historically, this is due to complete overload and maximization of client billable hours, 60 to 80 a week, which is a lot, while spending the remainder on business development, sales, and sleep. Any suggestions on getting on track consistently? Jonathan, I think we've met. I think we know each other's history. So I've been in your situation where I'm constantly 60 to 80 hours a week working, plus we're doing business development, which is another 20 hours a week. And I had a family, and I was a single dad with a child. So, you know, it's that whole saying that if it's important to you, you'll find a way. If it's not important to you, you'll find an excuse, right? And, you know, that's just really what it is. You know, there were times where, like, I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I would try to figure out, I'll give you an example, right? So, some of you guys know that I started my business right shortly after my wife passed away of cancer. My wife was diagnosed with cancer when she was 31, and we battled it for, I don't know, 4.5 years. And when she passed away, I was raising a 4-year-old daughter, started my business, and I had all those different responsibilities. What I understood was there was a lot of things that were really, really important to me, and I just wouldn't give them up. So instead of really focusing on like how I was overwhelmed or there was no time, I started trying to figure out what is the solution to this. I mean, what do I need to do? Because once we understand that there's an infinite amount of solutions to our problems, and if we focus on those solutions and we'll come up with a solution rather than kind of mulling in the problem, then that's where our energy goes to, right? So with that, what I was doing was, instead of like, you know, I would start preparing my, you know, I'll give you an example. Instead of driving an hour to the office, right, I would ride my bike, right? And that would help me exercise, right? While I was feeding my daughter with a bottle, I would take my bike and put it on a trainer, which is basically a stationary bike, and I'd spin. You know, I would walk to the grocery store instead. I would try to do whatever I can, or even bring in a gym. I know Sean just did it. Instead of going to a gym, he bought like he brought a whole gym into his house. And you know, there's quick, simple things that you can do to make yourself a lot more efficient, right? Where you're kind of squeezing in time. Because the truth is, all of us only have 24 hours a day, and with that 24 hours a day, we need to accomplish a certain amount of things. And unless we become ultra efficient and trying to figure out how to like multitask, or how to do two things at the same time, or like, you know, how to bring you know, an exercise bike or a weight set into our garage or what have you, then, you know, so we don't have to spend like 35 minutes, like, you know, going to the gym and getting dressed up. That cuts down the time. You know, you can really literally roll out of your pajamas, go to the garage, go to the office, go to a small, you know, section in your house and start doing some workout. And it doesn't have to be that expensive, right? You can get resistance band, you can get TRX ropes, you can do functional training where you're just jumping up and down. It doesn't have to be the going to the gym and getting on a bench press and then getting on a treadmill. I mean, there's thousands of different ways now that you can exercise a full body without any kind of equipment. You can just do it in your garage. You can do push-ups, you can do sit-ups, you can do burpees. I mean, you can do wind sprints. There's a lot of things that you can do that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to the gym. You know, I mean, like right after the shower, dry yourself off and go do some burpees for like 15, 20 minutes. I mean, just get your body moving. So there's always, I guarantee you, if you look at your day and you just map out your day, you're gonna find that you can start cutting out different things, and you can actually not just cut out things, but stack activities on top of them, right? So that's what I would do. And quite honest, Jonathan, you know, I just, you know, in the last year, I've been really realizing this. I think you guys know that, you know, about, let's say about 7 to 8 years ago now, I lost 92 pounds, right? When I wanted to start a family, I was like 242 pounds. I lost 92 pounds. I was smoking a pack a day, and I was just so sick of being unhealthy. And I understood that, you know, like health is a really big, you know, especially for entrepreneurs that are working so hard, right? You know, if you think about it, we're working so hard, we're so stressed, we're so under the gun. That is really, really deteriorating our bodies, right? And I'll give you an example. So I lost those 92 pounds. I started doing Ironman triathlons. I don't know if you know that. I know Gary does it too. It's a 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike, and then a marathon at the end, right? And I was doing that while I was building business and taking care of my like sick wife. So, and I had an infant child. So there's always a possibility if you can try to, if you map out your time and you figure out where you can stack things and how you can be more efficient. So long story short, when I started my business, I threw my health away, right? I just, you know, every single day I started throwing my health away, and I was working just like Jonathan, 60, 80-hour weeks. I was doing business development. I was working constantly all the time. And I just started feeling worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And why I'm telling you that it's important is because health is actually more important than any of this other stuff. And I'll tell you why. Because if you don't have your health, and if you don't feel energized, and if you don't feel invigorated, then it doesn't matter. Your whole business is going to crumble. And that's kind of what was happening to me. I just didn't feel good. I didn't want to go to work. I was not treating my staff the way. It's just because I didn't feel good internally. So why I'm telling you this is because it's ultra important to find the time. Being busy, building your business, working all that hours, guys, it is great to build your business, but it doesn't really matter if you're throwing away your health. So 30 minutes a day, that's all you really need just to make yourself feel better. So there has to be time there, right? So I just wanted to say how important that was. All right. Let's see. Gab, he's the next question here. Our company will turn 30 years old next February. I'd like to communicate this to our customers and possibly refresh our branding and our process. But just sending out emails saying, hey, we're turning 30 seems like we're bragging, and it doesn't add any value to our customers. Do you have any suggestions on how we celebrate this milestone while providing value at the same time? Man, I'd send out emails. I don't know why I'd brag. That's a huge thing. You know, your businesses barely last, 2-3 years, let alone 30. So yeah, I would send out emails. But you know what? When I read this question the first time, the first thing that I thought about, because I know your business, is that I'd have like a customer appreciation like lunch or dinner, right? So where you're actually sending out emails and saying, hey, we're 30 years old now. This is a huge accomplishment. Why don't you come down, meet with us and the staff? We're having this, celebration, at our stores, or even a different location. Or probably the best thing, if you can do it at your stores on the parking lot and have activities and stuff, that would be great. I would have a 30-year-old celebration. That way you're bringing customers and you're bringing value, because what you're doing is like people will constantly buy and will constantly do business with people that they like and they know and they trust, right? So by doing that, bringing them in there and saying, hey, you know what? We started this 30 years ago. Come and meet the staff. Come and meet me. Come and meet my wife. Come and meet my family. That just gives a personality, a face, and a heart and a mind to a business, which is really what they're looking for anyway. So if you guys are up to that, I think that would be fantastic. I would use this 30-year-old opportunity not only to brag about it, because that's quite a huge accomplishment, but also give it an opportunity to meet with all your customers. Bring them into your stores, give them a tour. I don't know, I think some of you guys follow me on Facebook and Instagram, but I invest in different businesses, and the last one that one of the ones that I invested in was an escape room with axe throwing and this arrow tag, where you basically you play dodgeball with Nerf padded arrows, and escape rooms and a rage room. So it was really neat. And basically the grand opening, right? And this is the same thing as your 30-year anniversary, was an opportunity to bring the community in to show them what you have to offer in a different way, rather than just them doing transactions in your business, right? Bring them in, show them like the back and what's your operations and why we're doing this and what was your concept behind it and what you want to do for the next 5-6 years and how you're going to improve and things like that. It gives you an opportunity to really, really connect with the community, because that's who you're serving. So again, I can't stress it enough. I think you have a really great opportunity here to get the community involved with your business and really show them who you are and what you guys have done for the last 30 years and what you guys are going to do for the next 30 years. By bringing them together, having them do activities, bringing in like a barbecue or whatever it is, right? So the community can get together and they can interact with each other and they can interact with you guys, right? So if I had that opportunity, that's what I would do, Gabs. Cool. All right, last question here is Robin. How do you recommend managing emotional eating? Yeah, that's gosh, I don't know, just do, I've just told you earlier, I was like 92 pounds heavier. I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'7", and I was like 242 pounds, right? And I was when I was depressed, I was eating a lot. When I was not feeling good, I was eating a lot. But the truth is, and I'm just going to speak for me. I know, I hate to say that, that there's other factors that don't contribute to that. But for me, I've always battled this throughout my childhood and throughout my adulthood, is that, I've always battled weight, and I've always battled a feeling good. But for me, emotional eating isn't any different than, I guess, I don't know, going to the bottle when you don't feel good, or like, some people go to happy hour. Some people try to get away by going to clubs and stuff like that to try to get away from whatever. Or at least for me, I mean, I used to try to avoid whatever I was feeling in there. But what I did was I just decided to, address what was the pain that was causing this emotional eating, right? And understanding, okay, what is this pain, or what is this issue that's causing this emotional eating or this destructive behavior? What is it? And once I understood what it is, I think mentally we have to be able to say, okay, is the behavior, so is this emotion, or is whatever the turmoil is that we're going through, and the behavior that it's causing, is that actually benefiting us, or it's not, right? So like if I emotionally ate, or if I smoked cigarettes, or if I drank myself to to sleep, or whatever it is, does that actually contribute to the person that I want to become like later in my life? Or is that just alleviating the pain that I have now, right? Because if we constantly do that, we just make it worse and worse and worse. So, for me, it's like, it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth throwing my life away, or throwing my dreams and my aspirations away. I understood what was causing that pain, or what was causing that issue. And I basically started using it in a different direction. So instead of emotional eating, what I did was I went to the gym, right? And it was hard at first. It's hard to just say, well, I'd rather eat that pizza, or I'd rather eat that piece of pie, because it's going to make me feel good instantly. And, for a lot of us too, it's the same kind of token as like, I don't feel good right now, I'm going to buy a handbag. Or I don't feel good right now, I'm going to buy a new car. Or I'm going to, it's actually called the hedonic treadmill. I don't know if you guys know that. It's like, we have this set point on happiness. And if we don't feel good about ourselves, what we do is we start buying things, and we start filling the void of our lack of happiness. And that's sometimes emotional eating or drinking or whatever, because we're trying to fill the void of something that's missing. And in turn, what we really need to do is we need to build a different relationship with that pain. And what I mean by that is, again, it's like, when I decided that, like, I want to eat, or I want to buy a car, I want to, buy something to make me feel better, I just offset that behavior, right? I think a lot of times is like, we have to offset the behavior. And what I did was I basically, again, I went to the gym, right? Okay, I wanted to eat a piece of pizza. No, let's just try to go to the gym. It sucked. All I wanted to do is eat that piece of pizza, but I went to the gym. And then I did it the second day, and I did it the third day, and I did the fourth day, and then the fifth day. And then in 3 weeks, it still sucked. And then in 2 months, it still sucked. And then after a while, I'm like, it still sucks, but I completely built a new different habit, right? And you can take that to every aspect of your life, right? In order to build a new habit, regardless if it's going away from emotional eating, emotional drinking, emotional buying, anything that's compulsive, you need to do the exact opposite of what's going on, right? And then anytime you do anything new, right, it's gonna take a lot of work. It takes repetition and emotional involvement. You have to constantly do it until you offset that bad habit. And that's the same thing with entrepreneurship. That's the same thing in everything that you're doing. I don't want to get up. I don't want to work out. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Well, whatever you don't want to do is not contributing to who you want to become, right? And at the end of the day, you can't look at your life in a silo, and you can't look at your life in the immediate. You got to look at your life in the whole, it's an entirety. And if what your actions, if everything that you do and you ask yourself today is like, hey, is what I'm doing contributing to the person that I want to be, eventually, and the best version of myself, is my behavior currently contributing to that? And if it's not, then don't do it, right? So that's really what it is. It's really about mental fortitude and making sure that you're constantly doing behaviors that is not contributing to the decline of who you are. Right. So hopefully that I hope that helps. That's that's a big question that you ask, and it's a very vulnerable question you ask. So I applaud you for doing that. You know, that's you know, I think at the, you know, we always talk about you know, being a great entrepreneur, but you know, at the end of the day, a great entrepreneur is still a regular human being, and a regular human being still goes through emotions and struggles and stuff like that. And we can't be the best entrepreneur possible if we can't take care of us as humans either. So so thanks for the courage for asking that question, Robin. It was a really vulnerable question. So hopefully I answered that in a way that helps you a little bit. Other than that, that's it, guys. I like being here with you guys, and hope you guys have a fantastic week. So we'll see you later.